Hey guys, welcome to a new show that I'd like to call Toku Turn-Back. A show where I, Frozen Stratos, turn back the clock and take a look at some of the Toku that I've missed throughout the years. And we'll be looking at shows 5 episodes at a time. This series, the series of episodes that are going to be coming up, we'll be focusing on Dairanger, and I just watched episodes 1 through 5, and man, this is extremely enjoyable. We live in an age now where Sentai is all about just shoving in Zords, new forms, new Kyutama, new Rangers, just, willy-nilly, just anytime they can to get the toy sales. But it's nice that Dairanger is taking such a slow approach to introducing some of these important aspects to Sentai, to Tokusatsu. I did like how we didn't exactly get a traditional sort of beginning, in the sense that episode 4 we really saw the team come together. Now, before I jump straight ahead, I want to talk about them chronologically. Episode 1, I thought, they dove right into the action. The effects were pretty cool, and some, there were some odd cuts, those odd, just sudden snap cuts that just happen. But I thought they did a really good job with, it's going to be weird to say, all the tentacles flying about, because there's something about just how I don't want to say intricate, but rather it's a unique effect that I thought they used pretty well. The kid in that episode singing that song, very creepy, very cool. And I'm really liking the show because it grabbed a child and then dragged her underground. That was something I haven't seen. It's somewhat brutal, you know what I mean? And it's not really something you see now. And then we get introduced to Pink later on, after we get introduced to Red, who's pretty cool. He looks like Jet Li. Which, considering this show is about Chinese culture, Chinese fighting styles, all that stuff, I was immediately drawn to that. And when we're introduced to Pink, turns out, she's from China too. And her introduction was a bit odd, I will say, just because of the villains just riding up on bicycles. I found that, oh man, off the wall, Sentai crazy. But and then when they revealed what they actually looked like, it was, I did not think that drawing a suit on a morph suit, like a regular penguin suit sort of look on a morph suit, would look so, I don't really know how to say it. It was just so odd. And the lips on the helmets are just, hopefully it'll grow on me, but I just don't understand why these minions are the way they are, you know what I mean? Along with the main villains, because the whole idea of them being from 6,000 years earlier, and we get a flashback later on where we see these guys taking over the world, and they're all in leather. They are straight up all in leather. How old is this leather? It's doesn't it dry out and crack after a while? When did they revolutionize the leather look? You know what I mean? It I don't know. And it's really hard for me to take them seriously just because of the excessive amounts of leather. And especially since the bad guy's theme is basically the Imperial March from Star Wars. It's really there are a lot of just goofy, endearing things about it. I don't know that I can take this villain seriously quite yet, in terms of episode 1, but it's fine. I do love right off the bat Yellow's fighting style. The drunken technique is one of my favorites. It's just like, as you see in what's Jungle Fury's Sentai counterpart? Geki Ranger, right? Blue's technique is fantastic. It's a modified drunken fist, right, or drunken style, and I like how Yellow uses it. They have a really neat way of well, I don't want to say neat. They just replay a explosion backwards, but I don't know. I haven't seen that done before in Sentai, and I feel like it's kind of an obvious thing to do. And to see it applied, it just made sense. Have an explosion explode and then reverse and then turn them big. That was really cool. So that was a great start. And then we went to episode 2, and they to control the Zord, they use that weird lightning ball, the one where you put your hand on it and then just lightning or whatever it is sort of taps the contact point. It's so old, and it's really overused now, by virtue of how just weird it is, as itself. You know what I mean? It's and to see it as the control stick or whatever of the cockpit, it took me out of it a little bit. I'll be honest, but I thought it was cool. I mean, you've done that. That's something everyone that has one, owns one, or has seen one. You've played around and pretended that it's like some sort of odd power source, right? So it makes sense that they'd use it for such a thing. Ryuseo, friggin' that dragon effect, we saw recently in Q Ranger, the new Dragon Zord, and man, I did not realize how, because that effect was the practical effect for it was stunning, and to see it still being done back then, which is a weird way to frame it, to see that, to see really the roots of that effect, it was really cool. I love the Ryuseo. Well, unless that's the Zord form. Either way, the Zord form, friggin' dope. And in episode 2, they're heading, after they've defeated the monster, they head straight for the base. I mean, yeah, it takes the motivation of Blue's adoptive, I guess, little brother to prompt them to do so, but they they go straight for the jugular, and we get a little more about the characters in this episode. It's it's nice to see Blue, it's nice to see the interaction between the team, but it didn't really come together for me until the Master, because Masters are pretty divisive. Especially more recent ones, and I'll draw the comparison again to in ours, it's in Q Ranger, Ryu Commander, because there are aspects to like and aspects to dislike about his character and most commanders. I feel if you have that mentor sort of figure, you expect them to kind of teach the Rangers and make sure they know what they're doing. And I feel like he did a really good job this episode, or in episode 2, teaching them a lesson. And you know what? Throughout my watch of episodes 1 through 5, I feel like he did a good job of that throughout. Like, he was equal parts wise and equal parts strong, and there was nothing that he did, well, outside of sitting too hard, but we'll get to that. There's nothing that he did that I questioned outright, because everything he does has some sort of purpose behind it. Like, even in, let's skip to episode 3, because episode 2, it happens, it concludes the way you think it does, but it's a nice story. Then we get on to episode 3, and I feel like this is where it really kicks into gear. Because I think Blue and Yellow are having a street race, and then they almost run over a kid, and that's how it kind of starts the episode. Then it's revealed that, oh no, kids are being sent to the hospital because they're just not motivated, and that's because this key guy, he's been stealing souls. Which, I mean, the effect there was pretty doofy, but Sentai doofy. So I could forgive it. It was, I mean, it's, I should probably look this up, but however long ago it was, it's a pretty old Sentai, so I can forgive, the hokiness of it all. And the standout of the episode, and I think was the point, was Daigo. Daigo really kind of brought a sense of passion, or not necessarily passion, maybe professionalism is the right term, to the group, because and I liked this two-parter of episode 3 and 4, because it gave us time to really let the story breathe. The story of them trying to come together as a team, and I liked it. I really, really enjoyed how they came together, because Blue and Yellow came... I mean, at least Blue and Yellow came back from an attack. Blue was telling them, hey man, there's this threat. And then the team was just blowing him off. Like, no, that's weird. Like, puppets attacking you? I don't think so. We're out. But then, Yellow stayed because he was almost there. And then Green stayed. Daigo. And, at that point, I was like, okay, I see you, Daigo. You're pretty cool. Like, you understand that, there is an immediate threat going on, and you should probably investigate it either way. All the while, their master just walks away. And I thought, okay, that's a little suspect. I don't know why you do that. For me, I was like, does he not believe in him either? That's odd. But it comes back later. So then, because during Blue, Yellow, and Green's investigation of this entire puppet ordeal, we really get to see kind of how they feel about the team. Green is taking it seriously. Blue and Yellow are just off doing whatever after they talk to the child of the week. And it was really telling of their characters. Then when Green kind of, I don't know, got some more information from the little girl, he really connected with her, and that led to her getting her soul taken. And the moment they saw that, they realized, oh shoot, this might not be this is a dangerous job. We could get hurt. And it's an understandable feeling. And especially since they kind of just blew off the possibility of this being a viable threat. It was really nice to see them kind of turn around. and then there's a conclusion of that in episode 4, and they all kind of feel that sense of responsibility setting in. Um, and we get more and more about why the souls were taken. They're being put into puppets that are just running amok around town. Um, and before that happens, the team is kind of just not having it anymore. They're not really feeling it. So they all leave except for Green, who's meditating with the master. When all hell breaks loose, they run right back to the base, to their responsibility, and they're now stronger for it, because they realize that without them, the Earth is basically defenseless, and they sit down and start meditating with the master and Green, all of them together, and it was nice to see a natural coming together of the team. Because, I want to say with Q Ranger, I mean, again, I'm drawing parallels to this latest one just because it's fresh in my mind. It felt a bit rushed. We didn't have time for it to breathe. I mean, some of the characters, it didn't really mesh well between episode 1 and the last few, because I don't know why, but it feels like they keep needing to meet a quota of what needs to be in an episode, and I feel like there were less of those limitations during the era that Gosei Sentai Dairanger came out. And it was stronger for it just because they didn't have to be bogged down by what needs to be shown, how many Rangers need to be around, and you know what I mean? And it's nice to have that room to breathe and kind of draw out their introduction, not just to the audience, but to each other. And at this point, we're getting this neat background about ancient China. It's nice that it's not like some ancient Japanese threat or some ancient threat that just manifests in Japan. This originated in China, and it's a threat that came from elsewhere and is now here. It's not a stationary threat, if you know what I mean. And I don't know, I thought it was a nice backstory, but it was kind of confusing because they learned that the rebellion got squashed by by the way, rebellion and all in tandem with the Imperial March for the bad guys. I don't know when Star Wars came out in relation to this show, but I feel like there are a lot of things that it took from it, more specifically the music. I don't know about the Rebels. Rebels are just, a standard thing, standard practice for large looming threats. Maybe they took the their kinky fetish gear from Darth Vader. Darth Vader's black leather, who knows. I feel like it's episode 4. Is it the first time we get the full roll call? I'm not sure, but either way, it them rallying around Green. Not only is it different from what it is now, because obviously you'd rally around the Red Ranger, but their coming together moment happened because of Green, and it's really nice to see that balance. That it's not all about Red, and again, it's different, and I don't know, I like it. And no, suddenly they get these individual weapons that only appeared for that episode so far. I don't know where they went. But I mean, I think they'll come back. There's weird nunchuck things for Blue, and then various sticks. I mean, I'm not too well versed in Chinese weaponry, ancient Chinese weaponry, but I'm pretty sure they had more than just some sticks. Now, moving on to episode 5, we're introduced to some friend of Pink's who just suddenly became her friend. didn't even know her name, and then she's getting a present from her. That must have been pretty awkward. Like, you barely know this person, and then oops, they've attached themselves to you. That must feel bad. And then I vaguely remember this villain and like the villain before that villain of the week, being in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it's so weird to see that such a non-formulaic show or a non-formulaic like beginning to this show be translated over to America and given such a cut and dry sort of formula applied to it. It's really weird. It's a testament to what writers and editors can do with the same footage. I mean, it's not entirely the same. It must have been different circumstances for the American television crew, but I'm very surprised at how well some of the storytelling is going for Dairanger at this point, because in episode 5, like by episode 5, we've introduced everyone and they've come together as a team, and we don't even have a full Zord yet. And that's coming in soon, because with episode 5, Pink kind of blames herself for screwing up a mission, and then she suddenly gets these visions of a powerful energy that used to control the other Zords, and the master thought, hey, shoot, these Zords might have been lost, but if you're getting these visions, they might still be around. And again, I like this slow development. Like, we don't get everything at once, we got one Zord so far, and I feel like at this point maybe we're only getting one more, and it'll come one after the other. I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong come episode 6, but I still appreciate, like, we are in episode 5 and we still don't have the full team's Zord. I mean, it's bolstered by the fact that we have a full complete Zord in Red, but it's still nice to just slowly get through it. Like, we don't have to rush. I feel like it's moving at a pretty nice pace, and it's refreshing, to say the least. I want to talk about each individual character, and then the villains, as we progress. We'll start with the villains, and like the 3 guys, or 2 guys and a girl. Their introduction was so weird. Like, they roll up in a car, walk out, and they're all in their weird kinky fetish gear. What the hell? Who? Like, no one saw that when they were driving there? They're the most inconspicuous? Conspicuous? Which one is it? I'm not sure. But they probably stood out so bad. And then they arrive in this weird abandoned shack where the other lady's hiding, and she has those bombs that, explode them into huge form. And with that introduction, I was not really sold. And so far, I'm still not sold. They're kind of lame. I really don't feel any fear or tension when they arrive on screen. There's nothing for me to attach any fear to. They're kind of lame. They look lame. I feel bad because, like, isn't this supposed to be one of the good ones? the one of the good older ones? I don't know. Let's just move on to some of the other characters. Let's talk about the Master. Like I said, he gives out some pretty great lessons. Oh, by the way, before I continue, because I forgot to say this, episode 5 left on a cliffhanger, so I'll catch up on that in the next episode. But again, the master turns out to be Pink's uncle, and I don't know. I like him a lot. He has good things to teach them. Like, there've been some dumb mentors around. Like, I mean, in Power Rangers, like, they're in Ninja Storm, their master. Oh, garbage, complete garbage. Well, okay. He seemed wise. He sounded wise, but what he had to say wasn't all that wise at all. And then also he was a hamster on top of that, and a CG1. So it didn't really have much going for him to begin with. Anyway, I feel like this master is really good. I really hope that he has more to teach them, and really more to teach the audience, because he teaches them some pretty relevant stuff about teamwork and responsibility, and I like it. And he lets them learn, right, from their situation, but he doesn't, like, if there's a problem going on, he will force his hand and just tell them what's up, because if the situation's dire enough, like, they're gonna need it, right? And he's even supporting them from behind the scenes, because it's revealed in episode 5 they can only maintain the Zord because he's been artificially sort of powering it from behind the scenes. And that's kind of cool that, like, not just that he'd do that, but he'd kind of hide that away. Like, maybe they don't need to know all of it just yet, and maybe they're good enough, but I feel like as they grow and as they obtain the powers that they're going to be searching for, probably in episode 6, his response, he'll, like, kind of take a step back in his responsibilities and let them kind of carry it. And I like that, because that shows a level of trust that he hands off to them. It shows a level of growth, if done correctly, for the other Rangers. Now, speaking of which, let's talk about the Rangers. Our first focus episode, I mean, technically the first focus episode was for Red. We'll talk about Red. He's fine so far. Like, he hasn't really done much to stand out. I mean, the costumes are dope, so his red, blazing red, it definitely stands out. But outside of being aesthetics, he hasn't done much in terms of leading that really sets him apart. He doesn't actually lead so far. And he is somewhat new to this, so it makes sense. Let's see. Green, I immediately liked him in episode 3. Just because he took the time and he was professional about being a ranger. He understood the responsibility right away, and I very much appreciated that. And it showed, just because they all kind of gathered around him instead of Red, the typical leader, which is different. I loved it, and I appreciate his determination and all that for the cause. Let's move on to Blue, and he's fine. He's got a good heart. He's definitely got a good heart, and I like that about his sort of character. Like, there's definitely an archetype that he fits, and when done right, I like it. Like, he's that big brother sort of guy, but not necessarily for the rest of the team, but he's just got this personality, this presence that he's caring, he's loving, and he cares for this kid who only has a mother, and he does what he can for the people that are around him, and I like that about him. Let's move on to Yellow, and again, we haven't gotten much from him so far. I like him just fine, and the fact that he does the drunken technique, it's like that's more points for me. It just Doesn't really tie into his character much. I mean, he's just a hairdresser. I don't want to say just a hairdresser, but he's a hairdresser, and that's as far as we get in these first 5 episodes. I'm sure we'll expound on that more, but as of episode 5, not much to it. Now let's talk about Pink. I really liked her introduction. She came off as immediately strong. Unlike Blue, who had to learn how to use his powers effectively or were weak at the beginning, which was a neat touch. Pink, she is very strong, and she showed that off right at the beginning, and I liked that. And in episode 5, where she's beginning to doubt herself, I want to see her, rise and come back. Like, she will be the first one, hopefully, to obtain her Zord, to like really master her Zord, because Red, he doesn't necessarily master his Zord, because the master, he's actually funneling his powers in order for them to use it. But if Pink's the first one to tame hers, that's really cool. That's really neat. She's already very powerful, and it would make sense that she'd be the one to kind of tame a Zord first. And I like that aspect. Want to talk about the designs for a minute, because man, these are dope. I don't really know what a Kirin is, but the other ones, like the dragon, especially, like his design on the Zord design, dope. His suit design, it's the red and the white that really do it for me. It's the blazing red against that white, and then the gold trim around all of them. It's just beautiful. And then their motorcycles, friggin' dope too, because they have the their spirit animals on them. It's I find it kind of weird that they just suddenly had motorcycles, but like if this is a time where they do not have Zords, or they supposedly only had one Zord that they could only use sometimes, might as well just give them the technology of the times, in a motorcycle, and that was really neat. I thought that was cool. And there doesn't, and I hope there isn't, there doesn't need to be any mystical explanation for those motorcycles. Please. That'd be real dumb. Then again, that friggin' ancient leather, that was pretty dumb. I don't really get that. And like, did they have those minions back then? Because I'm pretty sure tuxedos weren't made back then. And what's with the odd lipstick on them? I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. I really enjoyed these first 5 episodes. And I'm definitely gonna watch, another 5 in preparation for next week, and I'm looking forward to it. So, again, I'm the Frozen Stratos. My social medias are in the links in the description down below. And if you want to follow this series or follow any of the other series that we've got going on, we're in the process of bringing our Tokusatsu review show back out, our weekly show where we take a look at the recent Toku. We've got anime cast, well, technically not. We've got, individual reviews of the current season of anime going on right now, and if you want to check that out, go ahead and subscribe. If you like the video, give us a like. If you want to tell me what I said wrong, or what I did wrong, or maybe what I should watch next, toss it down in the comments down below. And we've got social medias for this channel, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, all in the links in the description down below. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Hope you liked this first episode of Toku Turn-Back, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.